is the Board of Education meeting for which adequate notice under the Open Public Meetings Act was provided by written notice on January 3rd, 2019 to the Courier News, the Echo Sentinel, the Star Ledger, Tappan to Warren, and the clerks of the Borough of Watchung and the townships of Greenbrook, Long Hill, and Warren. We have a roll call, Mr. Stiles.
Ms. Barone? Mr. Fahey?
Here.
Mr. Hayek?
Here.
Mr. Hunsinger?
Here.
Mr. Morrison?
Here.
Mrs. Ober?
Here.
Mrs. Potter? Dr. Shabilsky?
Here.
Ms. Raban?
Here.
And Mr. Fallon.
Here. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So moved.
Trying to be as fast as I can in accordance with the provisions of the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act. Be it hereby resolved that the board move into executive session to discuss confidential personnel and legal matters and the CSA evaluation, after which action will be taken. It is expected that the matters discussed in executive session will be made public as soon as the need for confidentiality no longer exists.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Greg and Susan. All in favor? Aye. Okay, we're back in public session. Board correspondence, I don't believe we have any. So I will turn to Dr. Jewett for the superintendent's comments.
You know what, the students have the bulk of sharing all the various student events going on, so I'm going to let them speak, and I'll save my comments for a little later in the agenda with some of the approval items. I do just want to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving, the board, our members of the public that are here, and
And the members of the media.
yes, say our public are really the media, our auditor, and a candidate, so. But the fall is flying by. We've had a lot going on at the school. I was at the play on Saturday, Almost Maine. It was outstanding. I know Susan was at the matinee as well. It was really, really well done. So I'm looking forward to our spring musical, Matilda, and our winter concerts coming up. So we just sent the invitation to the 8th graders to come for the holiday festival the day before winter break, which is always fun. So the next month, I encourage everyone to avail yourselves of the various concerts coming up. Thank you, Mr. President.
And I don't have any comments tonight other than to also wish everybody a happy and safe Thanksgiving and thank our student members for being here to give us their report, which we will get to right after we see if there are any comments from our business administrator.
No, Mr. President, I would just also like to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving.
It's all yours.
29 of our theater arts students have earned introductions to the International Thespian Society, the honor society for secondary school theater students. The Thespians honors were active members of the theater program for Troop 236 at Watchung Hills for the 2018-2019 school year, as well as current members that have been inducted since the beginning of the school year. Mahika Iyer, a junior at Watchung Hills, recently started her own nonprofit organization called Ladyship Inc. Its purpose is to empower more women to pursue leadership positions in the workplace. She has launched the podcast series Inspire Her and has featured guests including the UN Special Advisor to Africa, Beyonce Gowanus, and several women CEOs.
On Thursday, October 24th at 7 p.m., 79 seniors were inducted into the National Honor Society. In the PAC, Mr. Matthew Delabovi, one of our science teachers, was honored as the National Honor Society Teacher of the Year. The program was well attended by family and friends of these inductees. The 6th annual robotics open house took place on Friday, November 15th in the South Cafeteria and Room 4. The robotics team showcased previously built robots, gave tours of the shop, and answered any questions regarding the team. Robotics advisory members of the WHRS faculty, staff, and the WHEAC Foundation were in attendance. They spoke about the team's STEM subjects and related professional fields.
Laura Baines finishes her cross-country career at Watchung Hills as a 4-time varsity letter winner. She holds the school record for the fastest 5K cross-country run, 18 minutes and 31 seconds. She also has the fastest time on the state championship course at Holmdel Park, 19 minutes and 10 seconds. At the end of the 2019 season, Laura qualified for the Group 4 state championship race, where she finished in 11th place. Her time was fast enough to qualify for the Meet of Champions held last Saturday, November 23rd at Homedale Park, where she finished in 28th place. The fall athletic season is now over and the winter season is underway with the onset of tryouts, practices, and scrimmages. This year, we are proud to be hosting our first annual Botany and Cruise Boys Holiday Tournament on December 27th and December 28th. We will also be hosting the second year at the District 13 Wrestling Tournament on February 22nd. Please refer to the athletic schedule on our website for a complete list of all contests. Congratulations to the following student athletes who are recognized at our November 13th College Signing Day, as they have committed to continue their athletic careers at the collegiate level. Laura Baines will be running cross country and track for the University of Pennsylvania. Sophia Cicchetti will be playing softball for Adelphi University. Chloe Ferrer will be competing in soccer at Monmouth University. Caitlin Gully will be playing field hockey at Bentley University. Bradley Gelner will be pole vaulting for Arkansas State University's track program. Mahogany Jenkins will be jumping for the track program at the University of Indiana. And Chris Salkowski will be throwing javelin for the Coastal Carolina University track program. Our next college signing day is scheduled for February 5th.
Thank you. Mr. Vinci, we're now going to have the comprehensive annual financial report by Gary Vinci of Lurch, Vinci, and Higgins, our longtime auditors.
Good evening, all. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Happy to report that we have completed the audit for the school district, and as in the past, the district continues to maintain excellent financial reserves and surplus. We met with the operations committee and the administration prior and reviewed some of the results for the last school year, and just touching on some of the key components of your reserves. At the end of June, your total reserves and surplus were in excess of $8 million, which is actually $2 million more than the prior year. You have over $3.4 million set aside for capital reserve, and that's obviously for projects to be funded this year as well as future, and I believe that there will be a need, obviously, to draw down based on the recently approved referendum. You also have an excess of $500,000 for a maintenance reserve. $300,000 is set aside for any type of tuition adjustments for the Greenbrook tuition contract. Plus over $1.2 million is set aside for the completion of your locker room project. So obviously you have strong reserves. Reserves have been increasing, and it's a testament to the development of the budget as well as managing the finances in the business office. Happy to also report we had no audit recommendations. Tim and his staff do a fantastic job and deserves a lot of credit for that. So in the auditor's management report, you'll see that we have no recommendations at all. I think the same thing as the prior year. So if there's any questions regarding either report, I'd be happy to discuss those.
So Gary, obviously, because of your work with lots of other districts yourselves, as well as the fact that your firm represents so many districts, how would you portray our fiscal management and fiscal standard in comparison with other districts and schools that you're familiar with across the state?
I would say you're in the top echelon. I think the policies that you have in force, the management team, as well as maintaining, those records, you're, overall excellent for financial operations. So I think when you compare that, and, we audit quite a few school districts in the state, so we're looking at 80 different school districts, and I would put Watchung against any district in the state. I think Tim and his staff do a fantastic job.
And I bring that up, obviously, because I know everyone on this board is, talks about wanting to be fiscally responsible, and it's obviously an issue in our community. Taxpayers want to make sure that we're being fiscally responsible and managing the money that way. So having the outside audit come in and be able to showcase exactly how well we are doing, I think, is important for us as a board to know, but more importantly, it's important for the community to know that we're being good fiscal stewards of the resources that we have available to us on behalf of their children.
I agree, absolutely.
And I'd also like to highlight, as I have in years past, the record that Tim Stiles has established here with his staff of consistently bringing back reports from the auditors that don't have recommendations for changes is really close to unparalleled in the state, I believe. And in addition to that, another mark of distinction in how, we've governed the finances here is in the rare occasions when there have been recommendations, and they've usually, they've never been, very serious problem recommendations, but things that had to be dealt with, they were always dealt with within that year. And in the whole time that Tim has been here, there has never been a single instance where an audit recommendation has been repeated in a second year. And that really also is a testament to how we in the administration are watching over the finances of the district. So thank you, Gary, and thank you, Tim, and your staff.
Thank you, Gary. And since I don't always get too many opportunities to publicly thank Tim, I really appreciate the work that Tim and his staff do. Because of their oversight of our finances, we are able to do all of the amazing educational initiatives we put forward. And I have to say that Tim is probably among few business administrators who actually understands all of the educational pieces, and really does whatever he can to support them. He's drank the Kool-Aid, so to speak, so he knows. And I really appreciate the fact that when he is going through the budget process and working with all the administrators, that he makes them justify new purchases based on their alignment to the strategic plan goals. And so, I never even have to ask him to do that. That's automatically in there every year. So I really appreciate that, because we've been able to do a tremendous amount in the district in the 7 years that I've been here and beyond because of his oversight. So, and I'm looking forward to some of the other projects that we've talked about in the future.
Dr. Shabilsky?
Just on behalf of the Operations Committee, I wanted to thank Tim personally and for our group. You make our jobs much easier. Information's always available to us before we ask for it, and if there's something that's not there, it's quickly there after we ask for it, so that's appreciated. And I'd also point out that Mr. Stiles is quite humble, and he shares his accolades with the whole administrative team, including Ms. Jewett, Ms. Scheiderman. Obviously, you guys work well together, and it's very much appreciated. Thanks.
Yeah, guys, thanks.
And obviously, thank you for the glowing
Quite welcome.
report card.
Thank you, guys. You're going to make Liz's job very hard, because now she's going to deal with this ego. So good luck.
I'll go back to normal tomorrow, where I yawn as he tells me all this financial stuff.
Thank you for the very kind words, Guy. I really appreciate it. It's very nice. It's easy to do, because it's a great place to work. It's great people. It's a great community, and you've put your trust and faith in me and my department, and we take that seriously, and we should. It's important.
And Gary tells us every year that you keep doing it the right way. Thank
He
you,
does.
Gary.
Okay,
Have a happy
thank you.
Thanksgiving.
Same to all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Tim, if you could come out of the clouds for a minute, maybe you could just tell people how we did with the note.
Yes. So if the board is aware, so for the referendum project, we're doing a temporary note as opposed to a bond, which is a one-year payout. So our financial advisor and our bond counsel engineered the competitive process. We got a very good rate of 1.339, so about 1.4, a little less than 1.4, which is terrific. And the net interest we're going to pay on almost $4 million is $51,000, which is pretty good. So we're very pleased with the way that happened. We had 4 bidders. Actually, the successful bidder was TD Beck, who was our TD leasing company, but an arm of TD Bank, which was our former financial institution. So, but it worked out very, very well. We were very happy with it.
Good.
And soon to be an arm of Charles Schwab.
It's true.
Thank you, Tim. This brings us to the first opportunity for public comment, which I say meeting after meeting.
Someday.
If anyone would like to address this during public comment, please step up to the microphone.
Wow, such.
I will now close the first opportunity for public comments. And Mr. Morrison, do we have a motion?
Yes, Mr. Fallon, I'd like to move item C32, the walk-in item.
Yeah. You just want to state what it is, Bob?
Item C32 is the approval of Mr. Bill Librera as the new principal for Watchung Hills. The resolution walk-in is, be it resolved, the Board of Education approves William J. Librera as principal for the period on or before January 27th, 2020 through the period of June 30th, 2020, with a prorated annual salary of $160,566, with an MA plus 556, with an MA plus 30, step 12, pending the outcome and receipt of required documentation. So there's my motion.
Thank you.
Second?
Thank you, Greg. Any discussion?
Nope.
Do we have a roll call vote, Mr. Stiles?
Okay, Mr. Fahey,
Yes.
Mr. Hayek,
Yes.
Mr. Hunsinger,
Yes.
Mr. Morrison,
Yes?
Mrs. Ober,
Yes.
Dr. Shabilsky,
Yes.
Ms. Raban,
Yes.
and Mr. Fallon.
Yes.
Motion's carried.
Bill, if you'd like to come up briefly and just address the meeting as briefly as you'd like, we'd appreciate it.
Then you have to be here at 6 o'clock
And
tomorrow morning.
I don't know if you've
Sorry, you want me to turn it?
You can address us, they'll get it.
Kendall, figure it out.
Well, thank you very much for this opportunity. As I said in there, I'm extremely grateful and looking forward to this. It's an immense job, but one that I'm really excited to take. The academic reputation of Watchung Hills High School speaks for itself, and to take my skill set and to blend it with Watchung Hills High School is an unbelievable opportunity, one that I'm looking to continue the successes of all the student achievement and faculty achievement here, and to build on and to continue to grow an academic environment that is interested in the whole student and everyone in the building is something I'm extremely looking forward to. As I said in there, I will be fulfilling my job obligations at Chatham High School until my 60 days are up, but during that time, I'm really looking forward to getting immersed as much as possible in everything here and seeing everything that you guys do to allow for the smoothest transition as possible come January 27th. Thank you for this opportunity, and I can't wait to get started.
Thank you very much, Bill. I just want to let the students know we're about to go through all of our resolutions. You're not required to stay.
Should we introduce the newest student representative?
Thank you.
Yes, because Alexandra, I don't think you have been here yet, correct?
Hi.
Alexandra Park.
Oh,
Alexandra Schmidt.
Schmidt. Oh, I'm sorry.
Combined.
Kayla, I'm sorry.
You're a sophomore?
I'm a junior.
Oh,
Yeah, so it's actually worked out nice that we didn't have all seniors last year, so now we have a little bit of a transition. So we have, now Kayla is a senior this year, Jed is a junior, and Alexandra is a junior. And they won't necessarily all be coming to all the meetings, but I didn't even realize tonight, this is actually the first meeting of the year that you're with us. So welcome, and we look forward to having you as part of our discussions. And Mr. Stiles, Ms. Scheiderin, and I met and had lunch with the students just to talk to them a little bit about the coming year. So welcome to the board.
And I can tell you, and I think Kayla and Jed already know this, we actually do listen to things that you present to us, not just the achievements of the students, but your input on what goes on here. It's helpful to us as board members. Okay. Board discussion. Let me just first mention that we finally have a meeting with the superintendents and the presidents of the 4 sending districts and ourselves scheduled. It's going to go forward on
December 19th, I believe.
December
I think that's
19th.
the date.
And other than that, we can move on.
Yes.
Move on to action items unless there's any discussion first.
Mr. President, I'd like to move items A1 through A19.
Thank you. Bob? Does anyone want a second?
Hearing no enthusiasm, I'll second.
Thank you, Greg.
Meeting here tonight, so.
Yeah, that's true. We should put that.
Okay. Any discussion on resolutions A1 through A19?
No.
Do we have a roll call vote, Mr. Stiles?
Mr. Fahey?
Yes.
Mr. Hayek?
Yes.
Mr. Hunsinger?
Yes.
Mr. Morrison?
Yes.
Mrs. Ober?
Sorry, are we doing A1 through A19?
Yes.
We are.
Because I think there's one I have to,
Those are minutes.
I think, is there one about the?
Trip?
Sorry, A6? Yes, I have to
Oh, is that a trip?
recuse myself from A6, and I. vote yes
Abstain
on
from
it.
A6.
It's abstain, thank you,
Okay.
Good going.
thank you.
Okay, Dr. Shabilsky?
Yes.
Ms. Raban?
I'm going to abstain from A3, 4, and 5, since I didn't have a chance to review those, and yes to the rest.
Okay, and Mr. Fallon?
Yes.
Okay, motion's carried.
Thank you.
Mr. President, I'd like to move items C1 through C31.
With the exception of
No exception.
Oh, I'm
did
sorry,
that one.
that was 32. I
Yeah.
thought it was
Yes.
my. Okay, thank you, Bob.
Second.
Thank you, Greg. Any discussions of C1 through C31? Can we have a roll call vote, Mr. Stiles?
Mr. Fahey?
Yes.
Mr. Hayek?
Yes.
Mr. Hunsinger?
Yes.
Mr. Morrison?
Yes.
Mrs. Ober?
Yes,
Dr. Shabilsky?
Yes.
Ms. Raban?
Yes.
And Mr. Fallon?
Yes.
Motion's carried.
Mr. President, I'd like to move items D1 through D15.
Second.
Thank you, Donna. Thank you, Bob. Any discussion of resolutions D1 through D15? Can we have a roll call vote, please, Mr. Stiles?
Mr. Fahey?
Yes.
Mr. Hayek?
Yes.
Mr. Hunsinger?
Yes.
Mr. Morrison?
Yes.
Mrs. Ober?
yes,
Dr. Shabilsky?
Yes.
Ms. Raban?
Yes.
And Mr. Fallon?
Yes.
Motion's carried.
Thank you. We've now reached our second opportunity for public comment, which is not limited to agenda items. Going once, going twice. We've closed the second opportunity for public comments. Other business, Tim, were you going to mention to board members out here about,
Training?
yes?
Yeah,
You already took care of it?
yeah, I'm
Okay,
gonna,
that's fine.
whoever needs training, I will send you notes
Okay.
and dates.
Yeah. I'm surprised I didn't get any emails.
Me either.
They would usually
Yeah.
bombard me
Yeah.
incessantly.
Until you finally do it, out
Yeah,
of
so,
desperation.
and I haven't
you do
gotten
it.
any. So. Yeah.
Is there any other business? Then I will entertain
oh,
another mo-
maybe
yes.
this is other business, I just thought somebody, maybe I will mention the event last Wednesday night.
Oh,
The,
Please.
the Warriors, I believe it's called
United
the Warriors,
against,
United
Warriors
Against,
Unified Against Hate?
which was like so well
I know
done.
the hashtag was "We're all worried while we unite against him," something like that. Against
They, United was already taken, so I believe that's why it was Unified.
yeah.
Oh, really? Taken by who?
Uh,
Anyway,
Some
it
other
was
group
a,
of warriors.
it was a wonderful event. I was so proud of the students who participated and I believe organized it. And, so, well done.
The students did a tremendous job of planning that in under 2 weeks. I don't think they could have done a better job if they had a month. From the performers to the speeches, and it's, you know, that's just the beginning of the continued work we're going to do. We will be meeting with the students, with the equity team, which is faculty, to figure out our next steps with regard to how we want to move forward with programs for staff, for students, as well as for the community. So those are that's what's coming next. So you'll hear more about that in the future.
Bob?
And I'd like to piggyback on that. I thought it was a great event. I also thought that, I thought the turnout was fabulous, particularly if they're walking around the track in, what, nearly sub-freezing levels, but they're and enthusiastic. And I think particularly because of the turnout of students, there's been some speculation, out in the community about why was this even, how is this even a high school-related event since it's happened off of campus? And I think that event demonstrated why this was an issue that we had to address as a school community. So I congratulate all the faculty advisors and the students for organizing it, the administration for supporting it, because I thought it was a positive reflection on our school community.
Thank you. I
Bob,
agree.
would you also address briefly the resolution that school boards is going to be asking us to consider?
There's there's some rulings that are coming before the Board of Public Utilities, BPU, that could have a negative impact on how school districts are able to account for and monetize the use of solar. And some of the changes would actually create a disincentives for school districts to actually invest in solar and may actually penalize school districts that are currently utilizing solar. So School Boards Association brought this to their board's attention about 10 days ago. I asked for a sample resolution that we could use, because I know it's something that we're looking at as a district, that having the Board of Public Utilities take this unfavorable action may create a disincentive for us to actually go to solar. So Mr. Size has a copy of the draft resolution. We discussed it in Operations Committee today, and ideally we'd be bringing it to the full board so that we could pass it, so that that resolution can go to the School Boards Association, our legislators, the governors, and the Board of Public Utilities, expressing our support for keeping the current process the way that it is.
And I asked Bob to mention it tonight just so that the rest of you would have a heads up on it, because it doesn't seem to be anything that would be a downside for us and could be to our benefit if we can keep the Board of Public Utilities from moving in that direction with regard to solar. Thank you, Bob. Any other? I will now entertain another motion in accordance with the provision of the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act. Be it hereby resolved that the board move into executive session to discuss the CSA evaluation, after which action will not be taken. It is expected that the matters discussed in executive session will be made public as soon as the need for confidentiality no longer exists.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye. That's all you need.